Hello and welcome to GameOver.tech. Today we're going to be taking a look at this limited edition Mountain Dew Xbox from 2004. This belongs to a good friend of mine. He has had the console opened up before. He tells me that there's a capacitor leaking out onto the motherboard, and he has also reported hearing whining noises and popping noises coming from some other capacitors on the motherboard. These are common problems with the original Xbox, so let's get this one opened up and let's get started. Back in 2004, this neon green Xbox was announced as a reward for players of the Do You promotion. This game had people collecting Do You codes that were found hidden beneath bottle caps, inside cardboard cartons, and on large fountain cups of Mountain Dew. These codes held certain values depending on the item on which they were discovered. Depending on the product you purchased, you would be rewarded with a code worth 1, 3, or 6 points. Sometimes, if you were lucky, you would find a bonus point sticker worth 2 additional points. Users would log in at doyou.yahoo.com to redeem these codes for rewards points in the online marketplace. This marketplace is where users were able to trade their Do You points for Mountain Dew themed coveted items, such as skateboards, snowboards, mini fridges, toolboxes, hats, shirts, jackets, some autographed sports memorabilia, a chance to win a weekly $1,000 cash sweepstakes, and much, much more. But one particular item from this promotion has maintained its value incredibly well, and that, of course, is the Mountain Dew themed Microsoft Xbox. In order to get yourself one of these bad boys, you would need to redeem 550 points, pay an additional $99.99, as well as shipping and handling charges. If you were able to pull it off, you would be rewarded with one of the more rare video game consoles of that generation. When testing this Xbox, we found that it actually worked decently well. The concern here is that there is a bit of a whine noise coming from the capacitors inside, and the owner has opened this console up and noticed that one of the capacitors was leaking on the board, so it's in here so we can get this cleaned up and get these capacitors replaced. So let's get started. Before we take the screws out, it's important to lay down a microfiber cloth to protect the top shell of the console from scratches. The center badges are particularly sensitive to being scratched. This console has been opened before, so I won't have to worry much about the condition of the labels that will soon need to be peeled. Now that we have the top case removed, it's time to remove the hard drive, disk drive, and motherboard for a closer inspection. Here we can see a problem the original Xbox is commonly known for: expanding capacitors. This is a sign that the capacitor is on the brink of failure. Once that happens, the Xbox will no longer boot up. These will need to be replaced. This one here is the clock capacitor. This supercapacitor is known to leak onto the motherboard, so we need to check it out and replace it with a better one that should last a lot longer. Here we are adding heat on the underside of the motherboard. This will melt the solder holding the capacitor in place, making it easier to remove. Once the capacitor is free, we use a solder sucker to remove the remaining solder that is filling in the through holes. The clock capacitor was definitely leaking onto the motherboard. Here we use isopropyl alcohol and a brush to clean the area before installing a new capacitor. With the new capacitor installed, we turn the board over and solder it in place, then snip off the long capacitor legs. Next, we repeat the same process with the other faulty capacitors that we found. It is very important to get the proper rated capacitor as a replacement, and make sure that they are installed in the correct orientation. While we are working on this Xbox, we want to replace the thermal compound that is beneath the heatsink for the CPU and GPU. These clamps are a bit difficult to remove. The existing thermal compound is over 20 years old at this point, so it's best to remove it and replace it with fresh thermal compound to prevent any cooling issues that may arise. Okay, time to reassemble this Xbox and check it out. The Xbox takes a long time to boot up. I believe this is an issue with the hard drive. Being as this is a limited edition collector's item, we should leave the hard drive as is for now. Xbox hard drives can be difficult to replace for a console like this one. I'll have this conversation with the owner of this Xbox and see if he wants to replace the hard drive before it dies, or if he prefers to leave it as a collector's item. Looks like it's reading games just fine at this point, so we will also not be performing any work on the disk drive. Let's button this one up and get it back home in the collection where it belongs. It's not every day we get collector's items like this one in our shop. This was fun to work on. If you like videos like this one, leave a comment to let me know what you would like to see. If you have a collector's edition video game console and would like to have it serviced, please let us know. Thanks for watching.